welcome to your mats. Allie here. Thank you so much for joining in on this 6-week or 6-class mini-series on trauma-informed yoga. This training was created to be done once a week, perhaps watching the same video throughout the week multiple times, but tackling a different video just one a week. And so if you're with me on that journey, happy to have you. If you're just trying out 1 or 2 classes, that's wonderful as well. Trauma-informed yoga has been something that has piqued my interest for almost 2 decades. I know I share my story with a lot of my family and friends, but for those of you that don't know me personally, I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer in my early 20s, and before that I had done yoga as a supplement to other workouts or to stay limber and connect to something higher than myself when I was, in college and starting off my career. When I was diagnosed with cancer, however, I found that I leaned more into the yoga practice because it made me feel physically well. Where anyone has experienced chemotherapy, it can be grueling on the body, and so yoga physically supported me, but it also slowed down my fast-paced mind and let me stay in the present moment and really process feelings and emotions. So personally, this has been something that has been important for me in my life, but I also see it twofold. I see it with my students. I teach elementary school, children that come in that have been through an experience or have big feelings and don't know how to explain them, how to process them, even how to label them. And I also see this with adults that come to my yoga class that, before or after class will come up to me and say, I'm going through a breakup, I'm transitioning with jobs, or I was fired, I'm expecting a big move, or something really scary, something that promotes anger and frustration, an experience that they're processing and they're going through. And so I've always wanted to be able to support people in a way that can bring them back into their body and realize that, first off, trauma is not the experience. Trauma is how we perceive that experience and how we handle it. The experience in and of itself is something that can be very different from person to person in how we process it. For instance, there can be 2 people that are in a very similar car accident. One person says, I got a fender bender, I'm just going to get my car fixed and move on and not think twice about it. Another person, the exact same situation, can cause them extreme fear and anxiety driving in a car, especially being tailgated or when they're near that area where they got into the accident. This goes for every situation. Something that could seem earth-shattering for you might not even be a blip on the radar for your friends, and vice versa. Something minor for you could be huge for your friends. Almost on cue with dogs coming in here, dogs are also a wonderful addition, or any animals, to support you when you're going through trauma. So I always invite my dogs into yoga when I'm filming, so if you see them, I hope they bring you peace and joy and a little bit of love. So back to the thought that trauma is how we handle a situation. It's important to note that there is a huge spectrum in how people handle things. And so when we're talking about the trauma that we're going through and feelings and emotions, to be gentle and compassionate and empathetic towards others, because again, you might be that person that something doesn't bother you much, but it can really impact your loved ones. So with that in mind, this first class will be more of a setup. We'll do a yin style class in just a few moments, but I wanted to share some more information on this yoga and trauma connection. So this will be a TCM method, so traditional Chinese method support, and we'll be talking about different things that you can do on and off your mat. I'll talk more about that when we get into our first posture so that you can really start reaping the benefits of this practice. So just know that the first couple of poses I'll be talking a little bit more, and then as we settle in to the poses, I'll be turning my voice off. Something to note with trauma-informed yoga is less words the better when you get in deep, because we want people to process your feelings and your emotions. So let everything come up. There is no positive or negative or no appropriate or inappropriate emotion. There are more positive ones like happiness and joy, and there are some just, I don't want to use the word negative because all emotions have a purpose, but they might be negatively perceived within, like anger or worry or overthinking. So with this, we'll be focusing on the 12 meridians and the 8 chakra systems. So this practice that we're doing today will touch upon all of the 8 chakras. And as we go into the next couple of weeks, we'll focus on one emotion at a time and one area of the body. For those of you newer to the yoga practice, or perhaps haven't taken any formal training, or just unfamiliar, which is great, that's why you're here. The chakras are all connected to body parts and emotions. They're associated with specific colors, sound frequencies as well. So you'll learn a little bit about the chakra system as we go on this 6-week journey together. So before we begin, in Chinese we call it Qi or Qi, energy. In India it's called prana. In Japan it's called Reiki, so it's universal life force energy. We are working with our energy lines here. So over the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about a handful of emotions. There are 7 that are associated with trauma. The first one was kind of surprising because it's perceived as pleasant, but it's joy. We also have fear, anger, grief, anxiety, contemplation, and fright. Some of these all combine together because they are closer related. So just a little touch upon the emotions and the body parts. As we progress through this journey together, we have grief, which settles into the lungs, fear, which settles into the kidneys, anger, which lives in the liver, joy is in the heart space, worry and overthinking is located in your spleen specifically. So if you have an abundance of worry or overthinking, you might notice that you have some potential issues with your spleen. All right, so we're going to be focusing on the yin version of a yoga practice. So for today, we are going to be using a bolster. If you don't have a bolster at home, any pillow will do. This is a little bit longer than your average pillow. It's probably like the width of a king size pillow, but any pillow will do. You can take multiple pillows, and then an option for a block as well. You don't need a block for these postures. I'll show you how to set up with and without the block, but also if you don't have a yoga block at home, you can get a thicker hardcover book to tuck under your bolster when we get there. So my friends, we will begin in a comfortable seated position, sitting up tall and proud. Allow the crown of your head to reach towards the sky. Allow your sit bones to melt into the earth. Press your belly in towards your spine. Relax your shoulders down your back and let your palms face upwards as your hands rest on your legs. As you close your eyes, I want you to envision fire. Perhaps you're at a campfire. Maybe you're envisioning a candle. Fire can be connected to your heart space, your small intestine, and it allows you to feel overjoyed. Keeping your eyes closed, take a deep belly breath in, feel the expansion. As you exhale, softly let it out. Deep breath in, feel that fire in the belly as you expand. Deep breath out. Shifting your visualization to wood. Maybe that wood is within the fire. Take a deep breath in, feel your liver, your gallbladder. Deep breath out. As you breathe in, notice the wood, the color, the texture, the size. Breathe up. Final breath in as we envision wood. This is connected to anger. Breathe. Now I invite you to think of water, whether it's a river, a lake, the ocean, a cup of water. Fill up as you inhale. Exhale, let it go. Breathe in, notice the kidney, your bladder. Breathe out any fear. One more breath in. One more breath out. Shifting from water to earth. Visualize Mother Earth. Breathe in. Notice the stomach, the spleen. Breathe out any worry. And once again, breathe in. Notice the stomach, the spleen. Breathe out any worry. Finally, visualize metal. Take a deep breath in your lungs. Deep breath out. Deep breath in, visualize your metal as you notice your large intestine expand, contract, and breathe out. One more inhale. Exhale away any sadness. Now keeping your eyes closed, continue to breathe. Take in big belly breaths. From here on out, we're going to dive deeper into the traumatic release. And so if you notice your mind wandering, repeat this mantra. I am safe in this moment. I am safe in this moment. One way to support trauma and release trauma within you physically is to take belly breaths. So place one hand to your belly. Fill up as you inhale, expand the belly outward. Exhale, let it go. Two more like that. Inhale, belly breath. Exhale, let it out. Last one on your own. Exhale. And for the next few breaths, soften the breathing. Let it come in and out through your nose. Repeat to yourself, I am safe in this moment. As we start to transition into our postures, I will talk less and less, and then I'll come back into discussion towards the end. My friends, you're welcome to stay here, crisscross, or if you're ready for your first posture, I invite you to join me in child's pose. So there's 3 options in how you can get into child's pose. I'll quickly demo them and let you choose what works for you. These poses will hold for just about 1 minute to 2 minutes. In a traditional yin class, the next few weeks, we'll be holding these poses for 2 to 4 minutes. So this is kind of our intro. See how it feels for a minute hold. Child's pose can be done 3 different ways today. First, with your pillow, towards the top of your mat, place your palms on the pillow. Bring your knees as wide as your mat or as close together as touching, whatever feels good, big toes to touch. Sink your hips back. Now, the first option here for child's pose, your hands are on the bolster. Your forehead might drop to the earth, it might hover, that's okay. This way of doing child's pose allows you to open up the armpits. It gives a little bit of a stretch in your shoulder blades and your chest. Another option, if you want to take a different variation, would be placing the block at low or middle setting underneath your first eye, your forehead. This will allow you to keep your spine elongated as you stretch your arms forward on the mat. This is a little bit gentler on the low back. If you would like a more restorative variation with hardly any muscle engagement, you'll take your block towards the top of your mat at the second setting, or your book, and place your bolster diagonally on top so it creates a slope. And you can straddle the bolster, sink your hips back, and softly surrender on down. So pick the variation that works for you. Give yourself permission to fidget. Give yourself permission to sway. We'll settle on in, and I'll cue you when it's time to transition out. Our poses today will focus first on the root area of your chakra system. And so as you're here in child's pose, notice how close you are to the ground, how protected you are, your vital organs, your heart, the belly is all facing downward, protected. The color associated with this chakra, the root chakra, is the color of red. The chakra will remain open if you're feeling safe, secure, stable, and having the basic needs met, such as food, a place to live. If the mind wanders, as it naturally will, come back into the mantra of I am safe in this moment. Enjoy another 3 or so breaths. With no rush to leave. But when you are ready, take a deeper inhale. And as you exhale, walk your hands closer to your knees. Next inhale, slowly rise up. Move the props off for just a moment. We'll take a rebound pose, sitting on our shins, hands in our lap. Relax the shoulders, close the eyes. Just another breath here. And out. Gently blink your eyes open. Roll to a hip, send your legs out. I'll go at a diagonal. Now, if you have a bolster or a pillow, you'll be using it for this posture. If you don't, no need to worry. So leg shape, we'll take it out a little wide. So your leg makes the letter V or a slice of pizza. And you can drape yourself over. If you have a prop, your bolster or your pillow, you'll take that with you. Take the narrower side to the earth, hold on to the top of the bolster and press it outward so it creates a little bubble facing away from you. And then place your forehead on the bolster. Allow your arms to come by your sides. We're rounding the shoulders here, once again turning inward. This posture, similar to child's pose, is supportive of the root chakra, the grounding and the stability. Allow the shoulders to drop forward. Allow the forearms to be heavy on the legs. Allow a deep rounding in your back. Separate your lips ever so slightly. Remove your tongue from the roof of your mouth. And settle. Another full breath in. Full breath out. When you're ready to move on, hands come to the bolster. Use your in-breath to rise up and soften as you exhale. Our next posture, we're going to set up our props, and we'll keep our props this way for quite a while. And so we'll take our book or block, if we have it, to the second setting. And you'll create that slope with your bolster. Now this can be done without your book or your block. If you don't have, you can just have a pillow in the middle of your mat. Putting the block underneath the pillow or a book underneath the pillow or bolster will lift up the bolster or pillow and make it a little gentler of a posture. So yogi's choice. What we'll do here now is sit on down, send your legs forward, and then lean slightly over to the left so you can bend your right knee, tuck your right toes under. And so right here, this is a variation of half saddle in yin. This could be your pose. Sit up, close the eyes. If you want a little more, we'll slowly descend onto the props. Now, before we do that, if you have any ankle issues and having your ankle extended in this way, or if you have any knee issues and this is feeling like it's pulling on your knee, don't go any further. This posture is deep in the root. It also hits your sacral region and solar plexus. So stay here if it's feeling mildly uncomfortable. If it's painful, come out of it. Otherwise, if you have a little bit more space, bring your hands by your side and slowly lower down. The lower down you go, the more of a stretch in your quadricep muscles you'll get. And so we're working the quads. We have our knee in deep extension. We have our ankle, the front of our foot, in deep extension as well. So this is our root area. Typically in trauma-informed yoga, we focus on the root first because we need to find that safety and the stability before we can work upwards in the chakras. This posture has both of your legs, both of your hips in extension. Anytime you bend the knee and bring it up to the chest, the hip is in flexion, but this is extension, so we're elongating, we're lengthening the front line of your body. With each breath in, if we're intentional with that belly breath, we're getting into the sacral region. Your sacrum is touching either the earth or your pillow or bolster. And as you take that belly breath to your solar plexus, so your sacral and solar plexus, it's the sensuality, the sexuality, connection to others, your creativity, your desires, your passions. Let your arms fall heavily. We have just a few more breaths. And so this class, I believe I shared already, but this class will touch upon all the chakras as a variation of a pose or poses to support different areas of your body. The next classes 2, 3, 4, and 5, will be more on a specific body area and emotion. So for today's class, I invite you to just repeat the mantra that you are safe here. We're working all the chakras, multiple organs. Let's enjoy one more breath. When you're ready, if you're reclined on your back, hands will drop to the earth. Inhale to sit up. Take a moment to relax the shoulders. And then dragon pose is where we go next. We'll hinge forward, draping the arms on either side of the left leg. You can stay upright on fingertips. You can drop down to forearms. Again, allow a rounding in your back, releasing and opening up the back of your left leg. Let the head be heavy. Our head is almost 10 pounds for most of us. It's like carrying a bowling ball on top of your cervical spine. That can be a lot of pressure. So when we get the chance, let it hang, let it soften. Hands to the earth, inhale, sit up. Lean slightly to the left, extend your right leg in front of you. I'll pivot so you can see our next pose is going to be a seated wide fold. So you can take your legs out as wide as feels good for you, making a larger piece of pizza. It doesn't have to be anything grand or like a full straddle. We're going for our inner thighs here. Option to sit up here. Option to reach your fingertips forward. Option to come down to forearms. Once again, let the head dangle. You can put a slight micro bend in the knees if you need it. And then your feet can either hang out, that's more of a restorative option, or flex your feet and point through your toenails, like you're pressing your toenails away from you. This will activate your legs as you're stretching them, so it's a facilitated stretch. Hands to the earth, inhale, sit up. As you exhale, bend into your right knee, send your left leg long. Cross your right leg over your left. This next pose, there's 4 options for you, no props are needed. You can stay here with your left leg extended. Right knee is bent, hugging in. You should get a little release in the right outer hip. Another variation, placing your hand behind you, so your left hand behind you, right arm behind you, sorry, I'm mirroring you, and your right arm crosses over, twisting. Another variation, lean over to your left hip, bend the left knee, bring your left heel to the right side of your booty, and stay here. If you want to really open the hips, we're going to parallel your bottom left shin. Shimmy your right foot away so that the knees are somewhat stacked. And then place your hands down on the earth. Shift your hips on over to the left for shoelace legs. Hands to the thighs, sit up. This should feel similar to supine figure 4 or pigeon pose, specifically in the right hip. If you're in shoelace pose, oftentimes we feel this in our iliopsoas, also our outer hips. Some of us feel it in the QL that runs alongside your outer thigh. Big emotions are often stored in 3 spaces, primarily the hips and the root. So if we're not feeling safe and secure, it lands in the hips until we process these emotions. Secondary in the shoulders, we often hunch around forward when we're feeling stressed and worried, instead of open and expansive when we're not. And thirdly, in the jaw. Sometimes we don't even realize how much tension we're holding in the jaw, the shoulders, and the hips until we actively engage them, like squeezing them all in, and then exhale, let them go. I invite you throughout class and throughout the day, the week, the month, to do just that. Engage the booty, breathe in, exhale and soften. Lift the shoulders up, tighten them, round them. Exhale, let them go. Clench your jaw, grind your teeth. Exhale, let it go. Okay, my friends, we're going to take these next postures in reverse. Let's begin by tipping to the left hip so we can straighten the left leg if you bent it. Remove the right leg, take it off to the right. Keep the foot on the earth, knee bent, and do a gentle windshield wipe of your legs. Get some circulation back. Then extend the right leg long, bend into the left knee, cross the left leg over to the right. You can stay here, hugging the left knee in. You can twist. I won't mess up the lefts and rights now. Left hand goes behind your back, right arm crosses on top of the left leg and twist. If you want to go a bit deeper into the legs, unwind your spine, lean to the right, so you can bend the right knee. And 2 options, either tuck your right heel close to your left booty. You'll feel this as if it's a figure 4 pigeon shape on the left side. Or if you want to go deeper into the pose and also incorporate both left and right sides, parallel your shins to the front of your mat. Shimmy your top left leg over to the right. Naturally, your left hip might lift. You'll place your hands down and shift on over to the right. Hands will come to the shins, to the ankles, or wherever feels good. Simply breathe. Once again, relaxing the jaw, the shoulders, the hips. If you're thinking, oh, I don't have tension in jaw, shoulders, hips, engage them as you breathe in. Squeeze the booty. As you exhale, soften. Next inhale, lift the shoulders, round them forward. Exhale, roll them down and back. Third breath, clench the jaw, breathe in. Exhale, wiggle the jaw, let it go. When you're ready to move on, lean on over to your right, extend your left leg long. A right leg long, unwind the left leg, place the left foot on the mat, and windshield wipe the leg from side to side. I'm going to pivot back around. And so with your right leg straight, lean over to the right, bend your left knee, and then hinge over the right leg. Hands will frame the right leg. You can do palms down, forearms down. This is the one where you can round your back, really dome out the back. Head is heavy. Your next in-breath, hands to the earth, rise up. And just like on the other side, if you have any issues or sensitivity with your ankle, and especially your knee, stay here, even leaning a little bit more to the right to alleviate some of that tension. If you don't have any physical limitations or pain, you can slowly surrender down into this half saddle pose. Adjusting your hips, adjusting your body as needed. Let your arms fall down. The beauty of this pose is you're supported, you're being held up by your props, and it's just gravity doing the work. I am safe right here. If you're content and want to stay, I invite you to stay. However, if you're ready to move on, take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Hands to the earth, slowly sit on up. Lean over to the right, extend the left leg long. Give both legs a little shake, a rub. Our next posture is going to be a reclined fish pose with Supta Baddha legs or butterfly legs. So let's bend the knees, feet on the earth. Open the knees, bring soles of feet together, so you make a diamond with your legs, and surrender on down to this prop, the pillow, the bolster. And then for this pose, a couple of options. You can place your hands on your thighs for a little bit of weight to ground. Hands can go to belly and heart, out to the side to open the heart, or you can even reach them overhead. Close your eyes. This pose opens up everything. It's a very powerful pose. It's a vulnerable pose because your intestines, your organs, your heart, your throat are all exposed. And so this posture with the butterfly legs works the root once again. It's a common theme in trauma-informed yoga is the root. We want to feel safe and stable. Your sacral and your solar plexus, of course. But your heart is lifted up and expansive. This makes this pose primarily a heart posture. Your throat as well is exposed. And so in this posture, I invite you to swallow deeply into the back of your throat a few times. Feel the throat chakra activate as a reminder to always speak your truth. When we're thinking of our response to situations and circumstances and the trauma that we carry with us, sometimes we cower and we don't want to discuss it because it's difficult or challenging or brings up emotions that we want to forget. But the power is in the label, in the discussion. We can rip the power away from the situations as we talk about it, as we process it, as we heal. Now, if you're content here, I invite you to stay. We're also going to work a little bit into the shoulders, the underarms, deeper into the heart area, front and back body. And so if you're with me, Reach your right arm overhead. Bend to the elbow like you're trying to pat yourself on the back. Left hand will come to the right elbow to guide it away from you. So you should feel an immense stretch in your upper outer right arm, your right armpit, the back of your heart. We're only here for 3 breaths. This additional piece with the hands, with the arms, allows us to be more expansive, to stretch the shoulders that we often round when we're going through anger or fear, worry. And switch sides, release the right arm, extend the left arm, bend at the elbow. Right hand will come to the left elbow to guide the left elbow overhead, away from us. Beauty of yin class is we hold poses a little longer. It allows that tightening and resistance to fade away with each breath, for gravity to do the work, for you to simply be in receiving mode. Release the hand. Place the hands down by your side, arms go down. Hands will come to your outer thighs, close your legs like a book. Either roll to a side and press up, or simply sit up. Our next pose, we will take our bolster off to the side. We will use our bolster in a little bit. Bring the bolster towards the foot of your prop, so you're going to use that later. For this pose, we'll just use a block or your book. If you don't have either, I'll show you how to do this unsupported, so it'll be a bit more active. So you're going to come down to your back with bent knees. The feet about hips width distance. If you have anything in your hair, I bet you to take it out. Okay, shimmy the shoulders under your heart. Now, if you don't have props, you're going to place your hands by your sides, press down into the heels to lift the hips, shimmy the shoulders under your heart. So you'll slightly engage the booty, press the heels down, lift up. If you have a prop like a book or a block or something else, same setup, you'll just slowly lower down, placing the block under your sacrum. And then, if you want, you can extend your legs long. Your heels might land on your bolster at the top of your mat. That's all good. Arms can go overhead for an expansion in the front line. This posture is so helpful, as many of us during the day are in hip flexion, meaning the knee is bent. This is extension. And so you're doing the opposite of what you would be if you were sitting down, when you're walking forward, watching TV. This allows some expansion. Once again, connecting us to our root, red. You have the block, if you have one, underneath you. That's your sacral area. It's literally on your sacrum. With each breath in, you're expanding the solar plexus, yellow. Upwards to the heart, green. Throat, blue. The back of your head, so when we think of our chakras, they go not just front line, they go to the back as well. So that first eye, your seat of intuition, wraps around your head. That's pressing actively into the mat, and then beyond your crown. The colors of the rainbow are all represented, from red to orange, yellow, and green, blue, indigo, and opaque, almost translucent. Take another 2 breaths here. Being intentional with the breath. When you're ready, rebend your legs if you straighten them. Press the heels down, lift the hips. Slowly remove the block or a prop. Low back comes down. Take your feet as wide as your mat. Let's rebound with the windshield leg left and right. Knees go from one side to the other. Our final shape, our Shavasana today, will be extending our legs long on our bolster or pillow. Arms can go anywhere, from overhead, by your side, on your heart and belly. Let's melt the back of our head down into the earth. Soften the space between the eyebrows. Be gentle with your breaths in and out. Remove your teeth from touching. Upper and lower jaw separate. Relax your tongue. Shimmy shoulder blades under the heart. Let the belly be soft. Legs heavy. Feet can drop out to the side. I am safe in this moment. I am safe right here, right now. All emotions matter. All feelings are worthy. My friends, you're welcome to remain here just a bit longer. But if you're ready to move on, start with a deeper breath in. And deeper breath out. Wiggle your toes. Wiggle your fingers. Sway your head from left to right. And your next in breath, reaching the arms overhead. As you exhale, roll to your favorite side in the fetal posture. Once again, reminding yourself that you are safe in this very moment. When you're ready, press into your top hand. Find a comfortable seat. Let the eyes remain closed. Placing your hands in prayer position at heart center. Now as we keep our eyes closed and enjoy the final moments of stillness, I want to share a couple other things that you can do to support yourself when you're feeling big emotions. Whether it's worry, anger, overthinking, frustration, anxiety. Deep belly breathing with an inhale of say 3 or 4. And a longer exhale of perhaps 5 to 6. So anytime you breathe in through the belly, expansiveness, it softens us. And when your exhale is longer than your inhale, it activates your parasympathetic system, which is the rest and digest. So focus on belly breathing with a longer exhale. If you're feeling lots of anger, fidgety, anxiety, perhaps trade out a cup of coffee for tea or matcha. Maybe even warm lemon water, so less caffeine. You can still get that warmth of tea and lemon water without the fidgetiness. Eating warm foods like oats. Taking an Epsom salt bath. Eating with less ingredients. Giving yourself time to be out in nature, whether it's up in the mountains or by the ocean. And bonus points if you can do it barefoot. It's specifically walking on the dirt, you can ground, or in the sand, or in the ocean. I invite you to journal. Journal your feelings. Why you're feeling that way, what's coming to mind. Get it on paper. You might see some trends. Or perhaps just writing about it gives you that release where you can lovingly let it go. Bringing it to life lets it disappear. Holding it inward lets it fester and grow. Listening to sound. A megahertz of 396 is great for root, for grounding. All the way up to 963 for your crown, connection to the divine. Giving yourself time to slow down. So often we're trained and taught and told that the more you do, the better you are, and that just makes us tired and agitated and frustrated and having all these emotions exponentially more profound. You can take one thing off your plate each day, or be a little bit more intentional with who you are with and what you're doing. You might find you have more bandwidth, and you can be just as productive, if not more so, than when you speed up. My friends, when you're ready, inhale, thumb knuckles to your first eye center, breathe in. As we exhale, we humbly bow inward, namaste. Thank you so much, my friends. Over the next few classes, we'll dive in deeper to these emotions and holding poses a bit longer for you to really reap the benefits. We'll also talk a little bit about tapping and some somatic release when you're feeling especially anger and anxiety, ways to literally shake it off. And so please comment on the video, let me know what you think, if it resonated with you, how you're feeling in a couple of days. I invite you to journal, to be more intentional and mindful of what you're feeling throughout the day and why you might be feeling that way. Sometimes just stopping to reflect on, oh, well, this could be a trigger for me. Or, oh, you know what, actually, a couple years ago that would bother me and now it's not. Just taking note of that. Sometimes, for me personally, the benefit is in those small check-ins of, oh, yeah, no, I've overgrown that. That doesn't bother me anymore. But we don't often pause to reflect and see how far we've come. And so I invite you to celebrate the small victories, to take care of yourself and be gentle. Know that you are always safe, you are cared for, you are loved. And thank you all so much.